Everything is coming together to where you're going, eventually, it's coming, folks. You're going to have a dummy terminal sitting in your living room that controls your TV, it controls your iPad, it controls your iPod. All you're going to have is an interface box that plugs into a high-speed internet connection and funnels through your TV. That the reason that Microsoft got into the console gaming business to begin with was to use the Xbox as a Trojan horse to try to take over the burgeoning, not quite there yet, but getting there, set-top box market. God damn, I hate being right all the time. Oh, you can watch hockey on it. You can watch basketball. You can change the channels with Kinect while you watch the sports. Oh my God. Oh my God. Microsoft has gone casual. It is creeping ever closer to the goal that I said 7 months ago they were trying to achieve. That is their main focus. Will the next system have hardcore games? Sure. Sure it will. And it will have third-party support. But the longer you watch this, and you mark my words, you're going to see them get more and more and more about the multimedia entertainment, and more and more and more about the features, and it's going to be less and less and less about the games. You're going to see less first-party shit coming out for it. You're going to see them focusing more and more and depending more and more upon the third-party shit. Hey guys, 7th here. I was just gonna wait until next week to debut my new upgrades to the channel, but after today's events I figured I might get on camera and just share my thoughts a little early. God damn, that was a fail! Microsoft, you failed! You fucking failed! First of all, this should come as no surprise to anyone that's been watching my shit for a while, because I said in a video over a year ago that Microsoft's purpose was to take over the living room, that their next box was going to be an all-in-one set-top box that was focused more on the entertainment, the cable TV and whatnot, than the games. So hey, who's got 2 thumbs and is always right? So what was Microsoft's thinking in this endeavor? I'm guessing that it was something like this. Nintendo sold the most consoles last generation. Nintendo rode the success of the Wii based off of a controller that looks like a TV remote. I know, the next logical progression would be to bring out a cable box that plays fucking games. They showed no games. They showed 2 exclusives, one of which, most of the, half the footage was live action video. What kind of game is this? It kind of looked to me kind of their take on Beyond Two Souls for the PS3. That's what it looked like to me. Otherwise, the lesson that perhaps they should learn is the same lesson that Sega learned back in the 90s, that no one gives a rat fuck about full motion video and games. They learned it on the Sega CD, then they relearned it on the 32X, and then they relearned it on the Saturn, not to mention 3DO and the system that this conference most reminded me of from their CES debut back in the 90s, the fucking Philips CDI. They gave you no price, they gave you no launch date, they gave you a launch date that was even more vague than what Sony did. These are all the things that people were criticizing the Sony conference for. Microsoft gave you even less. Never mind the fact that most of my friends don't even have cable anymore. They got rid of their cable, kept their internet, and they watch everything on Hulu, Netflix, Crunchyroll, and all that shit. They don't fuck with cable no more. Who's gonna use this fucking shit? Then you got all this additional stuff that came out after the conference. Like the fact that the game is tied to one account. So if your friend wants to borrow it, guess what? He puts the disc in, and unless he's signed in as you, he has to pay the full retail price just to try out your game. Are you out of your fucking mind? Now who knows, Sony hasn't really specified on their plans for that, so they may end up having a similar situation. But still, this is going to piss a lot of people off on either system, but for right now, the focus is on the Xbox One. Now you thought that casual consumers were going to get confused by Wii versus Wii U? How do you think they're going to think about Xbox 360 versus Xbox One? And they go into the store to look at it, and it looks like a fucking cable box. God damn! I cannot wait for MLD to get online and try to justify this shit. I really can't. Oh, I can't wait to get my Xbox so I can cue in with all my fantasy football that I don't fucking play because I'm too busy playing real games. Oh, I can't wait. I can't wait to hear these guys jump on and defend this shit. Forza 5, big fucking surprise. Do we get a new Halo announcement? Hell yeah! Is it a game? No, it's a TV show that only people that own the Xbox One are gonna get to watch. Unless maybe they go on to Xbox.com and pay per episode. They gave specs out, but just bare bone basic specs that don't allow you to be able to tell the difference between what the Sony system will do and the Xbox system will do. Believe me, that's intentional. Then they exercise damage control for the complete lack of games on their conference by saying, don't worry, we got 15 exclusives coming out in the next year and 8 of them are new IPs. What I want to know is how many of those 15, and especially those 8, are downloadable titles versus DLC, and how many of them are fucking Kinect-only games. Never mind the fact that they didn't bring up indie studios at all. If I was an indie studio, I'd be even more pissed off at Microsoft now than I was before. The only people that should feel even worse than Microsoft right now are Nintendo, or at least the developers at Nintendo that wasted their time on Wii TV. Because as much as a fail as that Xbox presentation was, the people that worked on Wii TV must be feeling supremely ass hurt right now, realizing that they spent all that time making what boils down to a universal remote, and here comes Microsoft with their hands-free, AI-powered sense-what-you-like TV bot. We know next to nothing more about the system than we did before, aside from what it looks like, which is shit. Am I excited for it? Fuck no! Show me the goddamn games. At least Sony showed games. You could keep your fucking Call of Duty Ghosts. You could make that an exclusive as far as I fucking care. It didn't look any better than Killzone Shadowfall, that's for goddamn sure. This was fucking laughable. It goes without saying I'll buy the console eventually just to have it to complete my collection. But with all this shit about only being able to use the games once without having to pay a fee, all this shit about having to download the whole thing onto the system, how it's not always connected but you have to have it on the internet for it to work, how it won't work without the Kinect plugged into it, this is a goddamn fail any way you look at it. And only a retarded goddamn blind X-bot would ever try to defend this shit. I'll have more to say about it next week when the channel re-debuts. I've got new music, new intro coming, and a few other surprises. Until then, this is Seven.